Are we ready?
Yep, here we go. Hi, everyone. This is our Tuesday edition. I'm Dale Pinkert. I'm with Michael Venezia here at TradeGate Hub, and this is where Mike and I cover a few things that are happening in the market. A few weeks ago, Mike and I were talking about has the correction ended, and that was pretty accurate. I also want to remind everyone that a few weeks ago, Mike called the high in natural gas getting slammed today. WTI in my work is peaking, put out a couple of short recommendations this week that have worked, looking for about 71. And Mike, here we are. 2 weeks ago, we were wondering whether the correction has ended, and we're less than 1% away from new all-time highs in the S&Ps.
Well, you know what? I don't. The predominant theme, coach, has always been the rotation. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, it's amazing. I've never seen a period like this before in my career.
no, I haven't. And I've said this many times before through geopolitical events, through pandemics now, if you will, and even going back or SARS or Ebola elections, even when it comes to monetary with this little scare, whatever you want to call it, of interest rates. I I don't. I've said this a million. I don't know what would take it down. There's just so much money. When if they did this way, if they didn't crack it, what I thought was like this the last week, then I don't think they're going to crack it. This now this like I put if you pulled up here on the indicators that I pull up, and it's an amalgamation of a bunch of sites, majority of which I pay for. Uh, what I posted this morning, there's just huge amounts of money on the sidelines. There's hedge funds exposure. They sold off when the market was going. There's
Yeah.
I saw there was whatever I posted 2 days ago, 3 days ago, maybe by the video. And I apologize. I have a lot of information going on, but trust me when I tell you that within the last week, Goldman said something like they have clients. It's over here too. 4 trillion on the side. Here's Goldman sentiment right here. It's the lightest that Goldman has been positioned in literally a year and a half. And the market's basically testing new highs across the board. Granted, some things are stalling, and there is a lot of money on the sidelines. And I'm not the only one thinking this way. And you know what? It's just, I don't know. I don't know what would stop it. And by the way, let me digress. When it came to the natural gas, that was going parabolic. And it wasn't like I was throwing a dart and trying to say once every 3 or 4 days, this is it. There were indicators which we talked about and you edified as well. And I actually asked you about a certain one that led to that specific timing of it. So you weren't trying to chase the short, which was a poor trade. And we always say, to digress again, the biggest moves come at the end. So, and that's what made the natural gas trade more prevalent, if you will.
Yeah, and I think it's spilling over, to use an acronym, into the oil market, Mike. We got above $83 on WTI, and it's being met with some selling. I think that there are too many people talking about $100 oil before the end of the year. I think we have to shake those people out. Are the oil shares demonstrating? I know you took a shot at the short side of oil yesterday on a few different issues, and it worked. Is that still working?
The trade worked. I'm not going to go the guy like, for example, I had, I was a little bit levered more to natural gas stocks because let's look at the chart of crude, or let's look at whatever everybody looks at, USO, or you can look at Gush for the sexier guys, which is the triple ETF. But let's look at USO for all intent. That's the gas ETF. I mean, that hasn't pulled back. UNG has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when natural gas stocks like Clear or RRC, if you will, and you got to do a little bit of homework, and SM, they're natural gas a little bit more levered, not like Fang, which was, well, actually Fang didn't make a new high, but stocks like PXD were still, I believe. Yeah, these stocks were not. I was levered more to natural gas stocks, and
Okay.
the reason why I pegged the trade, for lack of a better term, is I just it was the Monday, the Monday euphoric gap up help. The fact that I thought the rotation was the rotate. Listen, the bottom line is the rotation was what worked for me. It wasn't the really of a timing of a particular stock or a block trade, or I saw it started to turn. The rotation helped as well. And you know what? The rotation's helping again this morning. If you look at that, I mean, technology stocks are up, and What was weak yesterday?
Yeah, that was a big rotation into big mega cap Nasdaq stocks. But when you look at the two charts like Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500, S&P 500 is much closer to making new highs than the Nasdaq. Although I think the Nasdaq will accomplish that too. I want to ask you something, Mike. I do the interviews, I talk to traders. And this year, I think might be a little bit different. In December, people take their losses
Yes.
to offset their gains.
Mhm.
What do you think about this with the possibility of higher taxes coming on capital gains? That there could be a flood of people thinking, you know what, in case taxes go up next year, I think I'm just going to harvest gains as well.
I think that's
And
I'll cut you off. I think that's an antiquated notion.
okay, beautiful. All right.
There are new demographics of traders in the market.
And they're not good. They don't worry about taxes.
They don't, well, everybody eventually should. We all know that. But with that being said, I
Because
don't look at all these things going now.
hey, look, I'm antiquated. You don't know how many people I've seen not get out of taking capital gains because they didn't want to pay the tax, and then 6 months later they didn't have any capital gains and wish they would have.
No, I understand that. And I'm also happy. Look at Macy's didn't file for these poor people, but that was an extended move. But you know what? In the old days, if I can talk about trade, in the old days, I don't know. The reason why I say old days antiquated is a stock like Net that went for, I would be like, well, the stock went in 6 days, went from 143 to 183. It's, those type of trades are working. You know what I mean? And I don't care if it's December 31st or Halloween or the day after Thanksgiving. I don't think the tax situation is gonna. No, I
Didn't
don't.
mean anything.
No, everybody was panicking 2 weeks ago about how Biden was going to have, not get political. It could be whatever president, but he happens to be the president. About freaking out about everybody. More than $600 would be right would be recorded. Things like that died down, just like the market.
You know what isn't dying down? We've had a huge move in silver, Mike, and I know a couple of weeks ago I was asking if you saw anything in the miners, and you said, well, I'd rather own Apple.
That's true.
And I'm wondering, and that's before the market really started to, perform silver and gold late last week. I'm wondering if you're seeing anything in the miners that interests you.
You know what? Okay. Well, how about this? Okay. I'll look at a couple. This is how I look at a trade. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is what got me this far.
Yeah.
First of all, so let me look at the GLD. If I'm not in the trade, so obviously I'm going to look at it like I practically, no matter what the symbol could be. GLD could make widgets. I look at the chart. Naturally, every day I know what's going on with the market. That to me is it's a no trade. I'd like to know
until it got over, say, 167.50. That is that a moving average line? What is that green?
That's the 200. Well, if you see here, like for example, where this arrow is, the 200-day is the 200-day.
Yeah, it's a blue.
It's green. That green 168. But other stocks are acting well. Newmont Mining, I think, is outperforming. I think the triple ETF NUGT is outperforming. But you know what? I don't think that the gold in particular is in play. It's been uranium.
All right. How about silver? I've been considering this ETF, and I wanted to ask you about it. It's SILJ. It's a junior silver miners, but it looks like it hardly trades during the day.
I trade AGQ. I'll give you an example about that one, which, by the way, about a decade ago, if I can, was one of my monster trades. If it goes back that long, I was actually short AGQ one day when in my previous firm, like broke 700, came, but that's a triple. I go, but I look at the AGQ, which is also the inverse. Yeah. But you want the SILJ, listen, okay, about SILJ, this is what I consider an ultimate compliment for a person that's been around a lot and basically who made hard money the first whatever percent of my career being a contra trader. And the point being is this: what SILJ is, the compliment is I wouldn't short it. So you could look it on the other way is then I would consider where it is on from there.
That reminds me of a saying. One of my problems in trading is being able to have the patience to hold to target Okay. And someone once gave me this tip and said, Dale, right before you're considering booking the trade, taking profits, ask yourself if you would reverse.
That's right.
And if you wouldn't, walk away.
Can I tell you something? I actually look at RUN, my lord. I actually wanted to have. I'm not a person. I'm not a post-it guy. I'm not a.
Yeah.
I don't have sayings on the wall or inspiration things. I don't need it, and I don't put down people that do. I'm not saying that. But if
Yeah.
I were to have one, it would be the corner. I'm being literal. It would be out of the corner of my eye when I trade. Like I said, I concentrate a lot. If I wouldn't consider shorting it, then let it, then let it
Yeah.
keep going. Then that's,
Right.
and there's also a side note to that. And for, I'm an active manager, so I have the discipline to look, but not do sometimes. But I've learned more often than not, especially when the VIX is low these days, that if you want your positions to work, you don't watch them.
Yeah. VIX, are we going to 10, Mike,
I don't know. We've
or
got to ask Miss Aline about that, but she was right about that short term. But it's, you want to talk about antiquated? That's antiquated.
the
There's one
VIX?
rule. I wish I can get. I'm probably sure he's listening. Who's that? Whatever interns or whoever's working for us, me on the call right now. There's only one philosophy, one thing that I hold to. You could try to corner try to corner the cotton market if you got my blessing, but you can't trade the VIX.
Okay. I think I saw you lecturing. I think you're lying to whoever is, has some attachment to it. And I've broken your rule.
If I have to, by the way,
You said to them,
I'm a hypocrite, but I'm allowed
you'll
to.
never learn. You'll never learn,
It was to
is
Lewis,
what you
by the
said.
way, and I've been saying it to him for a decade. And
Yeah.
by the way, Nettie's, we're all, listen, it's, I didn't make it up. It's not like I want somebody to say, oh, Michael, you're right. It's only because statistically, it's a losing trade compounded on top of any financial instrument out there. I didn't make it up.
Yeah. I was on TVIX for a while, so I understand. I've lived it. Sometimes you have to live it.
That's
Mike, I was watching your broadcast yesterday. I want to remind the viewers when they could tune in to the live stream and come into TradeGate Hub to listen to you. And you were talking about some stocks that were going to become the new Fangs.
they already are.
And they were, I mean, the ranges and percentage moves they were having were, uh, dramatic. And are they new Fangs because they're fairly new issues? Their business model is in tech, or they're just trading with high beta?
I don't think they're just trading with high beta because there are laggards.
Okay.
And as we said, the market, is rotational. Let's look at it. Let me change the screens here. I'm trying to get better for the people. This is what Apple's been doing. Nice. It's above now. Now it's, they're rotating into Apple and Microsoft today, but these are them. It's Net. It's ASAN. It's Docu. It's what else is AFRM, which by the way I had as a takeover and I was giddy. And you want to talk about where the shorting theory worked? I had it this day when it got taken over, believe it or not. And I said if I probably would short it, and I sold it, and that was I want to get into it. That's part of the new tech, if you will, natural. And you know what? I talked about this last week. That's the new Apple, believe it or not. And I'm not saying that, Jesus, for anybody or no disrespect to newbies out there to say it. It's more of an analogy than actually what's going on about what Tesla's opposed to Apple. But this is what they want. And a lot of it does make sense. A lot of it is extended. But you know what? Smart money has been after it, and smart money is not, these are, this net trades, 6-7 million a day. This isn't a thin stock or something. So, there's something behind it, and I don't fight it. Listen, this is a great chart. It's not like it had ups and downs and it surprised this didn't surprise everybody for the past 2 years. This is no surprise. That had a little dip and a pullback and ripped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. This is really a rip from this recent lows. I mean, I don't remember a time. Do you remember a time when stocks had this kind of a explosion in ranges, isn't that usually near like some type of, final hurrah when this parabolic moves start happening, and the momentum, people just have to keep chasing them, or they'll just rest until the next rotation
I talked about
after
this
that.
one yesterday. I talked about this yesterday too. I said this was a buy, this right here in the high, and I didn't do it. Do I think so? You know what? I don't, I can't, I'm sure you've done the same, coach. I've had to rethink a lot of things. It's harder to break an opinion than a habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I'm not trying to have too many opinions. Miss Queen Helene, I'm just trying to go with the price action. Thank God, one day I am going to be, I had the trading. I had it long. I had net long. And like I said, I had AFRM and I've been long this HUT and I've been long apps. This is one of my better trades. I was in this early. Go back 2 weeks, 3 weeks on TradeGate Hub. Hold on. This was one of my bigger trades and it worked and it should have worked. I started right around here. And I just don't try to fight it, coach. I'm not that smart. You know what I mean? I'm in the middle.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has different styles. Like, for example, if you go back to the Apple chart, and I, had it as a rising wedge, and, had called the top here on TradeGate Hub at 158.
I do remember Bravo. And I'm like, yeah, I remember.
Oh, anyway, what I'm thinking now is I'm going to be very interested to see if the NASDAQ 100 makes new highs without Apple making a new high, without Amazon making a new high. Facebook won't make a new high. I'm already thinking of ahead to when we get to new highs, what's going to confirm and what may be glaring and not confirming at that point. And I come up with candidates so that when we get there, I'm ready to consider something. It's nothing, and they may not, NASDAQ may not get to a new high, or it may just become parabolic and Apple could make a new high. So, I just kind of think ahead. It's just my nature. Let me tell you something, and you have found it. Okay. I've interviewed Jack. I brought Jack Schwager here, and I remember a question I asked him, Mike, and I still remember the answer. And here's a guy who's talked to everybody, right?
Okay,
And
yes,
trying to dissect, what makes a good trader and how they did it, etc. And I said, Jack, what is the most important advice you could give to a trader? I didn't say new trader, advanced trader, to a trader. And he said, find a style that suits
absolutely.
your
Yeah.
personality.
Right.
So, I can't be you, you can't be me. And it's a journey to find everyone out there. You could learn things from other people integrated into your work, but you know what? No one's going to give you the answer of what suits your personality, because you're the one with the answer.
Well, this is what I teach, if you will. And I mean it. I say, it's not like the Back to the Future where Biff had one book with all the results. There's not, if there was only one way to do it, there would be only one way to do it. And somebody would have the key and everybody would just be, so example, this is what I used to say. This is when bookstores were back then. If you walk into a bookstore, you go into the trading section, the business section, 50% of whatever it may be, you get the point. Half the books are about psychological, the other half are technical, dojis, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's because there's no real method. And getting back, and I'll edify your point and I'll end your point, is that I don't have a better plan than anybody else. I just know how to do my plan better than maybe many people do. And that's my style. I'm not saying that my style is the best. I even was self-deprecating and saying for a long time I made hard money. So with that being said, I'm not teaching the information we put on TradeGate Hub is not, I'm not saying this is my particular golf swing or this is how you should arch your, it's a bunch of different whatever devices to help you sit down and eat your proverbial meal. I'm not telling you how to eat. We're trying to put you sorry about the cliche, but we're putting you at the table. And for two people that have been in the business for now with almost And if Tim was on here for a century, we have something, there's something behind that. So we're trying to convey that to everybody on trade data.
Yeah, I mean, if they could just pick up one or two arrows that we use and put it in their quill. I kind of
Well,
think
you don't even
of,
have to put it in the quill. I post this every morning.
yeah,
Here's stocks that were big poppers with good range. Here's our stocks with good range. Here's a large range with 2% moves with large range, relative volume leaders all there. Above the SMAs, that's what you don't even have to listen to me. You have to go to that, and that's what you have. Anything there is what you need to be involved in. By the way, 99 out of 100 people would say the same thing. I'm not splitting the atom, but at least we give you that.
so you buy a little piece of all of them. How do you select which ones? They're big lists.
Well, it depends on how they close. It depends on
Okay.
how they act. Or it just
Do you do a lot of trades on the close, Mike?
yes, I do. Because I was taught, and
That's a final vote.
yeah, and I'm still told, and I still believe this to this day that it's not how they start, it's how they close.
Yeah.
So I might not get, I'm not, once again, it's not the old days where I had a clerk and I had my proverbial list and I said buy 5,000 across the board or 6,000 of 6 to 8 stocks that I have my list on. But my universe has gotten narrower, my selection has gotten narrower. Actually, my size has got up. But yeah, it's
Does a weekly close mean more to you than a daily close? Or do you even, maybe you don't even pay attention to a weekly close? That's, maybe looking
what I
ahead.
look for? No, you know what? I'll say this. I look on the weekly close when it's usually something of an extreme. If I have a large position and I want confirmation, if you will, I'll look at the weekly for the longer term so I won't get shaken out. Conversely, if I'm in a bad position and it's not working on the daily, then unfortunately I got to go to the
Yeah.
weekly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
Sometimes I do that when a trade's not working. I try and find reasons to rationalize
Coach. When a
staying
trade's
in.
not working, I know where the people live. I know the CEO's birthday. I know everything. I try to
Yeah.
look for every little loophole in my crap.
You know,
Yeah.
go ahead, Mike.
And then when there's a winning position, sometimes I have an idea what they do. But
Yeah,
that's
I want to talk about our main chat just for a minute. That we're, have a community is about supporting each other. And I really only have one rule when I'm streaming or posting, and that's that there aren't people out there rooting for others to fail and take pleasure in it. That's toxic. They'll be bumped from the community, and they're only trying to rationalize their own inadequacies. So that's in case you guys wanted to know the rules. That's my only rule. So we're here to support each other, share and ideas, and we can debate and have different opinions. But we don't have people in our community that aren't supportive and are, you know, hoping others fail to make their losses look better. So I just wanted to let people know it's a great environment.
it is a great environment. It is.
Because you don't know how many chat rooms have people like that in there.
Yeah, no, I know that. Yes,
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good rule.
it is a good rule. But listen, it keeps you honest, and it keeps stop.
Well, look, I learned things from you that I every day that if I didn't know you, I wasn't listening to you. I wasn't watching what you posted. I'd have no idea about it. And some of your ideas, even though completely unrelated to some of my FX trades and stuff, have given me a nice narrative and bias to go ahead and execute in my stuff. And so, I appreciate all the people that are here and are contributing. You can't be lazy and just think that money is going to drop into your account.
Airlines, we have some question about Lewis with
Yeah,
positions.
Patron is asking. Patron, you catch a short side of stay with the short side of crude. WTI worked out a couple times.
Airlines, man, they're broken. The last I looked, LUV was in trouble. No, no, I wouldn't buy an airline. Why would I buy it? There's no, the answer is no. Well, the airlines are.
because
It's not
they're
even.
cheap.
Well, if you're looking at the screen, I don't know if anybody's looking
Yeah.
at the screen here.
They're not doing anything right.
No, no. Next.
Yeah, next.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people are tempted to do this when things are cheap. And I used to use this metaphor, you know, Mike, what happens when you buy something at a deep discount store? What happens to it when you bring it home?
Usually falls apart.
Yeah, it breaks.
Right. Much
So
like some of the women, much like some of the
So
women late night in Miami Beach. Believe me, they break down too later.
yeah, so you buy a cheap stock and it breaks.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's, you know,
We'll leave it at that.
I got a million of them, Mike.
No, I did too, believe me.
Anyway, so anything else you want to cover today in our market banter?
No, I'm just, let's go, like I said, go with the price, the good option flow is. Don't look at, go with the price action. Don't really look at what the market's doing to try to see if the market's topping or going down or bottoming. Just to evaluate your positions, what they are, and don't try to time the market because that's really going to get you out of a lot of positions.
Trying to learn that, partner.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to thank you for hanging out with me for a while today.
Sure, it's an honor, Coach. You're well to do it. Okay.
And thank you very much. And if you guys like what we do here, I enjoy talking to Mike, and I think you're getting some ideas every time we talk that are actionable. So, give us a thumbs up. Let people know about TradeGateHub.com. We welcome you. And we not only welcome you, we're offering to share what we've learned in our careers with you. And that normally would cost you quite a bit. So we're doing this to help build the community at first. It's not going to be free forever. Okay. So, and you know what? You're going to have a choice. You're either going to pay the market or pay to learn. And if you don't pay to learn, I hope it's not an Ivy League tuition you pay to Mr. Market, maybe community college tuition. Oh, that'll be free if Bernie gets his way. Anyway, so that's a wrap, everyone. Don't forget, don't just count your shares. Don't just count your pips. Don't count your coins, count your blessings. I'll see you tomorrow for an update on crude. Looks like the forecast is manifesting. And thank you, Mike, for I learn from you every time I talk to you, and appreciate being able to talk about markets with you. I think if I'm learning, people listening are as well.
We hope so. We're certainly not here to waste anyone's time nor ours. So
Yeah.
everybody trade well, and thanks for your time. Have a good day.
Appreciate it. My trading warrior brother, Michael Venezia. See everyone later.